What is going on, guys? Brewer here, back again with another video, and it is good to see you guys again. It has been over a year since I made and uploaded a YouTube video, and a lot of you have probably been wondering where I've been. You know, I've heard I've disappeared off of social media and whatever. I set myself out on a mission, a bit of a challenge for myself, and something that I wanted to do to kind of prove to myself that I could, and also position myself for future plays. And I decided to buy a fully established 2-year-old e-commerce brand that was at around $4 million in revenue, buy it, build it back up, stabilize the profits, and sell it. February of 2025, I made the deal, found a brand, bought it, and in May of 2026, so just about a month ago, we were able to successfully exit the brand. So I was in and out in about 15, 16 months, grew revenue by about 30% during that time frame, and sold it for a lot more than I bought it for. And in this video, I'm basically going to be breaking down an overview of exactly what I did to, buy a dying e-commerce brand, turn it around, make it extremely profitable, stabilize the operations and the profits, and actually successfully sell it. And we sold it pretty quickly from the time that we listed it, but we'll get into details on that a little bit later. And the craziest part is, a lot of people think I stopped social media, personal branding, documenting, whatever, and I didn't. I actually documented the entire process, all the way going all the way back to February, every little thing I did for this brand to turn it around. We actually scaled it back. It was doing about 10K a day when I came in. We scaled it back to about 2 to 3K per day, fixed the systems, fixed the profitability, fixed the overhead operations, scaled it back to 30K days. On multiple months, we were hitting 30K days, and then we sold it. And I documented literally everything. So in this video, I'm going to be going through everything that we did, kind of an overview. And then in future videos on this channel, I really just want to document this whole journey, because I feel like there's not a lot of people out there that are working on e-commerce brands at a high level like this, and being able to come into something that's losing money, essentially, you'll see in a second, and turn it around into something that's actually profitable and sellable, I think is very impressive. And there's a lot of really good actionable things that I did during that period that a lot of you guys can probably do on your brands right now to make more money or take another step in the direction of your business actually being sellable. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you an overview of everything that I did to buy this brand, build it up, and then successfully exit it. But if you want a more detailed breakdown, like step by step, every little thing that we did, down to like even specific website changes, click the link in the description, join this Discord, and go over here to the left where it says live brand building. You'll see the free live brand building right here. And there's actually another brand in here as well, but the one we're going to be talking about in this video is brand number 2. You can see acquired in February 2025, successfully exited. And once you click this link, you'll be brought to this is what the actual documentation looks like. It's really, really in depth on every single little thing that we did week by week, like week 1, right? This is week 1 after buying the business, everything that was done. And we actually turned it around really, really quickly. I doubled profit in the first 30 days. So there's a lot of really good, actionable, valuable stuff in here. So go look in the Discord, link in the description, if you want to see a more detailed breakdown of what we did to build the brand. So what the business looked like day 1. So this was the day that I actually pulled the trigger, signed the documents to actually buy the brand, and it was looking quite rough. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that go into buying a business, and why I saw an opportunity in this business specifically, we can get into in a later video. But this video is just kind of going to be an overview, and then more specific stuff or questions that you may have, I'll answer in future videos. So my goal here is just to lay out, the way that things look, so that you guys can kind of form your questions and whatever. Leave them in the comments too. Send me a DM on Instagram if you want to talk more about this. I'll be making probably 1 video a week from this point on. So this is what the business looked like day 1. The store was doing about $10,000 per day with 3 to 5% margins. So this wouldn't be like too bad, except the business had overheads of 20 to 25K. I put 20 to 25K. It was probably more like 30 to 35. And overheads, softwares, agencies, employees, whatever. So the business was actually losing money. Like, even though it was doing, 300K a month in revenue, it was still losing money. Like, if you look at the actual P&Ls, the last 30 days from the time I came on, it actually had lost $20,000. My plan was basically to spend the first 1 to 3 months scaling back volume, getting clarity on what was working, what wasn't working, try to ramp up what is working and cut back what wasn't, and kind of re-enter a testing phase to kind of build a new foundation to build a business on. Because the business had really good prior years, but it was just on a trajectory to kind of essentially go to shit, right? Like, it was doing good revenue, but the profit was slipping. The founder was getting bored. He just wanted to pawn everything off to agencies. So, I was able to come in with some new energy, build a really strong foundation in the first 1 to 3 months. And then over 3 to 6 months, hopefully we would discover some opportunities, whether it's like new creatives or products or whatever, and then actually maximize those opportunities in month 3 to 6, scale those up, keep pushing the business, hopefully back to that 10K a day, whatever revenue point with good profit margins this time. I always targeted like 20 to 30% margins with this business. And then in the 6 to 12 month period, actually focus on maximizing profits. So kind of cutting back all the testing, the founder spend. That's kind of what we called it, was founder spend. Things that we would spend money on that we didn't really need to, but we did because we were testing new concepts or softwares or creative strategies or whatever. So month 6, we stop all of this, and I strictly focus on making the most amount of profits, and then preparing to exit. So cleaning up all the books, getting it listed for sale, talking to potential buyers. And then 12 to 16 months was more focused on the exit, but we're still in the profit maxing phase as well. Basically, an overview, the first 1 to 3 months was kind of taking a step backwards, scaling back a little bit, trying to identify what was working, what wasn't working, start testing new things. And then 3 to 6 months, start scaling whatever worked, and then focus on selling the business. That isn't exactly what happened, but I was able to stick to this plan within like a few months of this plan. So this was the original plan, and obviously nothing ever goes according to plan, but it was honestly pretty close for how it actually played out. So let's go through, kind of season by season on what happened. So this is February to April. What actually happened? So this is the first 1 to 3 months. So we ended up scaling back revenue quite a bit, back to 20% margins, built new foundations on Meta. So what does this actually mean? Well, this means we changed up the ad strategy slightly, and we also introduced a lot of new creatives. So there wasn't a whole lot of new creatives and stuff being tested in the account at that time. So we just kind of built those new foundations, which is it was kind of a slow process during this period. You can see that sales really slowed down, down to 2K a day for a minute here. And then on the second to the third month, we kind of started ramping it back up. Except that time we were actually profitable because we had much better creatives. The Google was a little bit more optimized, and we were also running TikTok ads at that time. But yeah, you can see almost instantly pulled back. Within 2 weeks, we cut the revenue in half, which reintroduced some really good profits, 20, 30% margins. And then we kind of hovered there for a bit, testing creatives, rebuilding the systems, and then we were able to scale back up a little bit after that. May and June. So this was a period where, this is the 3 to 6 month window where we were basically capitalizing and maximizing the opportunities that we had opened up before. So you can see during this window, which this month ends so this is the end of April right here. You can see that we're kind of slowly starting to climb back up. And then boom, right in May, literally had a spiral all the way up to a $37,000 day, which you can see that we had to pull it back quite a bit here, and then we pulled it back hard again. But we ended up balancing out right where we started, back to $10,000 per day, except this time we actually had good margins. So this whole process was basically the original plan, right? Take 1 step back to take 2 steps forward, scale back volume, get clarity on what was working, and then start testing new stuff. And then 3 to 6 months, maximize those opportunities, scale, keep pushing, and then continue into actually stabilizing the business, which this is kind of what happened right here. You can see that we push, And then on this 37K day, we actually noticed our margins were like getting really slim again. So we pulled back a little bit, and then we pulled back again, and then we kind of stabilized at 20K days for a couple weeks here, a few weeks, and then back down to 10K per day. But when we actually pulled it back this time, our profit margins were really good because we had a much better foundation on Google, Facebook, and TikTok. So this pretty much went exactly to plan, even though we weren't able to maintain the 30K days. Just in 4 months, the business was in such a better spot than it was when I came on. We went from losing like 20K per month to actually profiting, $30,000 to $50,000 per month during this time, just in a few months of locking in on the ad platforms and the systems and making sure that we're running efficiently with return on ad spend. July and October, what actually happened. So this is kind of still in the 3 to 6 month window. Like I said, not everything went perfectly to plan because we didn't actually start profit maxing and exit prepping until September. So this is still a little bit before then. This is July to October. So from 10K per day, we were able to maintain that for a couple of months, but the profits started slipping. So we cut back again, probably to around the 5K, 6K range per day. And then starting September 1st, we really cut back all unnecessary expenses, like I just said. So that's when we transitioned into the phase of profit maxing is kind of what we called it. Like we're just going to profit max now, get rid of all the agencies, bring all the systems in-house, cut our overheads, only focus on winning angles, winning concepts, winning products, and try to stay lean and consistent. And that was the main goal. And this whole stage was pretty much all about operations. And you can see that the revenue is kind of dipping down. And that's primarily because we were pulling back on ad spend on Google and Facebook. And around this time, we also stopped advertising on TikTok as aggressively because it wasn't as profitable as we needed it to be. So yeah, this stage was like basically a huge pullback, profit maxing, and we actually ended up scaling up again after this point. So we kind of pulled back, maximized profits, got rid of all of the overheads, and then November to December, this was Q4, which this business really shines in Q4. So, and this was really it. Like this was a really nerve-wracking time because we had to make it, like we had to make Q4 a really good month because our whole plan was to list the business for sale at the end of Q4 with, basically profit max for like 4 or 5 months, having a really strong Q4. You can see that we were able to scale back to a 30K day. But all in all, during this window, we kind of stayed between 5 to 10K days with like 30 to 40% margin, just like really strong margins. And just focused on making as much profit as possible. So we listed it for sale on December 25th, so like literally on Christmas, or it was like a day or two before or after Christmas. I don't remember the exact day. But literally in 2 to 3 weeks, we got an offer. It was a really strong offer from some really strong buyers who were buying multiple businesses a year. And they knew what they were doing. And we were just confident enough to work with them. And the business took 5 months to sell. So again, I can go more in depth on all these little nuances in future videos, which is what I want to do. This video is already getting quite long. Obviously, a year and a half buying a business, building it, selling it. There's a lot of stuff to cover. But yeah, it took 5 months to sell. So we listed it for sale December 25th, and we closed somewhere in the middle of May, middle to end of May. So it was a really smooth process. Honestly, it wasn't that bad, but there were a lot of things that I learned during this process of listing it for sale, talking to buyers, going through due diligence, dealing with the bank. Honestly, I can't even say if it was like good or bad. It was just kind of is what it is, and it just took a long time, and it was really nerve-wracking, the whole process. So yeah, summarizing the story, the business was losing money in the beginning, and a lot of money at that, like 20K per month, 10 to 20K per month. I stuck to the plan. I made this plan originally before I bought the business, cut back expenses, test creatives, launched some new products to maximize profits, and then scaled it back up, increased revenue for the year by 30%, and then maximized profit, and then sold the business. And yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster, which also makes the documentation that much more fun because we went from 10K days back to 1K days, to 3K days, to 30K days, to 10K days, back to 3K days, and then back to 30K days, and then sold the business. So quite the roller coaster, a lot of lessons. I'm really, really excited to share it with you guys. But this is what I want to open up. This is my ask, okay? DM me questions or comment below. Anything you want to learn out of this whole process, because I truly did document everything. And if you want to see the specific stuff that I did to actually grow the business and sell it, I documented it all in this document right here. So join that Discord. You can read like step by step. You can see the headline, how I quadrupled this brand's profit margin in 30 days, 4% net to 17% net. And again, this was just the first month. I didn't even, when I wrote this, it was like while I was doing it. So I didn't even know what was going to happen back then. But obviously knowing what had happened, it's much more crazier. It ended up working out really, really well. So go check that out in the Discord. If you guys have any questions, or if you want me to make any future videos on specific phases of this process, like we scaled to 30K a day in like 20 days. Like it was extremely quick. That's a phase that I can talk about. We scaled back extremely quick. I can talk about how to scale back and maximize profits. I can talk about managing overheads. I can talk about what we did with the team to actually make the business appeal to buyers that wanted to buy a business and stabilize, they wanted to buy a business that was already stabilized, that they didn't have to work 8 hours a day on. So I can talk about all these different subjects, but I just want to leave it up to you guys. And I'm really, really happy to be back on YouTube, and hopefully you guys get a ton of value from my content. I mean, it feels really, really good to just be filming this video and talking about the stuff that I've been doing, because obviously I've been hush-hush for the last year and a half on this process, but very excited to bring this to you guys. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.